Well, hello and welcome. I'm the Kodiak, and today we're going to be talking about Chiefs third round pick Leo Chenal. So let's get right into it. I'm still recovering from tonsil surgery, so that's why I might be a little bad at talking. Actually, that has nothing to do with tonsil surgery. I'm just bad at talking. All right, let's get right into it. So, since Andy Reid took over the Chiefs in 2013, this team has always had a very good offense. Defense is a bit of a different story. They've been improving for some time now, at least steadily year over year, and they are a streaky unit. But dear God, have we seen them have some pretty terrible performances in big games over the past few years? And if you're a Chiefs fan, the main concern with the Chiefs is never the offense. It has always been the defense. When you have Patrick Mahomes throwing back there to Travis Kelsey, there's a legitimate chance you could score on any given play. And I know they just lost Tyreek Hill, but they still have 15 back there. And the defense has been what's held this team back for as long as we can remember. When I think of what Spagnuolo has run with the Chiefs since he got there in 2019, I think of athletic linebackers and physical corners and safeties. To put things nicely, since Mahomes has become the starter, the Chiefs' defense has been a giant trash can in the middle of the field. And this draft's clear objective was to patch up the holes on defense that have plagued them for several years. Ben Neiman and Daniel Sorensen are the guys who immediately come to mind as the main scapegoats for last year, but also they were just that bad. Neither of those guys are going to be on an NFL roster by the time week one starts. Actually, I think Sorensen plays for the Saints, but regardless, I don't know. I don't think they'll carve out a decent role for him. And they replaced, guys like Neiman and Sorensen with guys who can actually play. The Chiefs already spent two picks in the second round in 2020 and 2021 on the linebacker position. They drafted Nick Bolton and Willie Gay to strengthen the middle of the defense and enter Leo Chenal, who they just drafted at the end of the third round this year. Chenal tested as one of the most athletic linebackers of all time. Using the relative athletic score tool, it's easy to see why this guy was such a coveted linebacker. 4.53, 40-yard dash at 250, 34 bench reps, 225, and a 40-inch vertical. And just from what I've read and what I've heard from Wisconsin and various news outlets, Chenal might be an even better leader than he is an athlete. And there are pages and pages of people on the internet just praising him as a leader and praising his not only his leadership qualities, but his instincts and his football IQ. And he's incredibly explosive, and it shows up as much on his relative athletic score as it does watching him play. He's everywhere. He's all over the field. He's, causing havoc around the trenches. He's blowing up running backs while he's blitzing. But what was most impressive was that in run support, he is a literal tank. In this class, we had so many great run stopping defensive linemen. We had so many great run stopping linebackers, and Chenal is up there with some of the best. His pass rush repertoire was absolutely fantastic. The role for him in Steve Spagnuolo's defense is likely going to be the strong side linebacker role, where he's used primarily in run support and blitzing downs. There were some talks of him becoming an edge rusher and playing that Parsons role that they carved out in Dallas. And yes, while he tested well with agility at Wisconsin's Pro Day, he skipped it at the actual combine. So I think that is going to be a big question as to whether or not he actually can play the edge, set the edge. Another big question, probably the biggest question about his game, will be how well will he be able to cover running backs and tight ends, because he really doesn't have a lot of raw coverage experience. And I've read conflicting reports about coverage. One scouting report I saw said that he'll be absolutely fantastic in that role, but it seems like the trend is that his lateral agility does not match up with how well he tested, and that's something I noticed while I was watching him. For one of the most athletic linebackers of all time, for somebody who ran a 4.53 at 6'2", 250, his speed laterally didn't really show up to that 4.53 or a sub 7.3 cone time. So as far as the overall skill level of this team and this defense as a whole, I think they're going to be about the same level of strength they have been. I like adding McDuffie, Karlaftis, and Chenal in the draft. And I'll probably talk about their offense at some other points. But in a vacuum, I expect that offense to take a step back without Tyreek Hill. It's certainly a crowded wide receiver room with Juju, McCole Hardman, Josh Gordon, MBS. I know they just added Sky Moore too. So with losing Tyreek, I think that offense gets a little worse, but I think the team will be on a similar caliber of strength just due to the fact that I think their defense is going to be so much better. And the ability to just find value in the draft is why I think Veach is one of the best GMs in the league. Chenal is going to do wonders for them in the middle of the field, and the Chiefs' defense, dare I say, could be a strength when it's all said and done because we're not really used to hearing that. I just think it was a great pick, great value, especially at the end of the third. Uh, yeah, and I don't think what the Chiefs were looking for could have gotten any better, within the first 3 or 4 rounds of this draft.